Congratulations on the tour, guys, and on the new
Thank
album.
you.
Return of the Killer A's, a greatest hits collection. First question is really, the band has survived for so long. What do you attribute this kind of longevity to? You know, when so many bands just can't keep it together for so many years.
Patience. Patience.
Talent.
Ooh, I like that.
Good one.
Good one. And tolerance. Tolerance. Let me forget.
Very good. Has there ever been a time when you felt the band wasn't going to stay together?
Once.
Why?
It was the first chapter of the band actually, and we had a old singer at the time, Joey, and we just felt that we hit our mark, you know, and we just didn't want to go any further with that lineup, and we wanted something different. We had just ideas that we felt he couldn't put out what we were thinking, and we made a change in singers, and that was John. That was in '92.
And that actually leads me right into my next question, actually, because the greatest hits collection, you guys did something that I think a lot of bands that have had lineup changes wouldn't really dream of doing, which is including songs that has songs from both lead singers. What led to that decision?
Well, I mean, I just think that there's a lot of great songs in both eras, so I mean, it makes sense to, I don't know, you have to have like, I think the great thing about this greatest hits is that it showcases songs throughout Anthrax's history, and I think that you can see the progression, and you can connect every song to the year that it was that it came out, and that's why you see a song that, like Madhouse, was very relevant back then, and then Inside Out is very relevant to the most recent album that we put out. So I think that it shows a good progression.
And another interesting thing, which I think is really unusual, especially for a band like you guys, is including the cover of "Ball of Confusion," which is a song you did where Joey sang with you as well. Which that again is a something you really wouldn't expect from the band. How did that idea come to fruition?
The whole idea behind Anthrax is never, don't make them expect anything. You know, always do the unexpected. That's why I think we're around so long, because we tried different things. We don't stay like this. We go that way and this way, and it's just, I think people latch onto that and they like that about us.
Right. Much like in '91 when you guys released the Public Enemy collaboration, which opened up a world of that kind of music where hip hop and hard rock could live together. Do you guys think that you get enough credit for that nowadays? Because there's so many bands that just I think have started on that point, and
I don't think we get any credit for that. Yeah. I mean, like when we do interviews and stuff, they give us more credit for it, but
I think the journalists know.
Journalists
know.
A
lot of the journalists know. And
I mean, a lot of people probably just don't want to give us credit or give us props.
Oh, they all want to take it for themselves, just because they say we started this stuff, and it's like, wait a second, let's look back in the files. Wait, right here, you know,
almost 10 years ago.
I mean,
plus maybe if we did continue with it, then there'd be no way that they couldn't, you know.
Right.
But that was the whole idea, is to move on from that, you know, do that and grow with something else, and not stay stagnant, and not stay there and go on to something else. That's what Anthrax is about.
That's right. Being unpredictable.
Right. But would you ever consider going back and doing a project similar to that?
Sure. I mean, if it was the way we always felt with the Public Enemy thing, like we couldn't top it. So you know why?
I don't think anybody has.
Why touch it? No.
I don't think anybody has touched that yet.
No, not in that with the kind of power that song has.
Just being honest with it, I see everything that's out now. Nobody's really come near anything like that. So.
Plus it was early and people weren't ready for it.
Right.
That was the problem.
Yeah, like if it was now, if we did that now, people, oh my God, you know, then
it'd be different.
Then they'd be saying, "Wow, you guys took a page out of Limp Bizkit's."
Yeah, something like that. Whatever.
Nobody needs that. That's you know, through your history, actually. You've had a lot of setbacks with record labels, a lot of changing back and forth. Does that kind of business stress have an adverse effect with the band's creativity?
Actually, that laugh was like more of a cry, just now. It really was.
It's actually weird because it's not really like the history. It only happened in 1995 with one label, and then it seemed like, you know, people always remember that it was with Elektra, you know, and they had a big problem within themselves. I mean, the whole label just turned upside down. So, you know.
But isn't this new album your deal with Beyond Music is a new deal? Correct?
Yeah, because we went from Elektra, then we went to a label called Ignition to Tommy Boy, and they lost their deal. So it wasn't a question of Anthrax; it was a question of the labels that we were on
and timing and stuff like that.
Who got screwed up.
Unfortunate. And you just got to move on. The bottom line is you really have to
perseverance,
move on.
and
persistence.
If anything, I think that those things probably help writing, though. Because, I mean, that's a good way to channel your energy, because if you're having some some frustration with the label, you know, it's a good thing to be in a metal band to go out and go, all right, we're pissed, we got some ideas.
Right,
So,
right.
They believe when you're mad, you know.
That's right.
You know.
How much does creative conflict within the band affect your process when you're in the studio? Or is there any creative conflict ever?
In the writing process, there's always creative conflicts. There's going to be again in this album. But after that, after when the recording actually happens, I think it's pretty straightforward. Everybody just on the same page, and we go towards the next page.
Has that changed throughout the years, the way that you guys approach recording, or has that always been the same thing?
This last time was different, totally different.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I mean, the past records we've gone to an expensive studio, blow tons of money, and then come out of it going, woo, what happened? and then this last record we did, the Volume 8 record, we did it in our own place for, you know, a quarter of what it would cost us to do it in a big studio.
And that's great when you can come from home. I live 10 minutes from the studio. You can call up, you know, I'm coming in at this time, and you just do your tracks, and you feel really comfortable. I think that shows on the record.
And the pressure is relieved because
no
you're not
pressure.
spending that kind of money.
Right.
Exactly. There's no pressure.
But you do spend more time.
Is that a good thing to have more
be,
time?
It could be good, it could be bad.
Yeah, it could also take away.
Because then you just stay there and you just, like, it's just good enough. It's just, you know.
Overanalyze.
Right, right.
Exactly.
Recently, I read a news report that had that says Dave Sobo just joined the band for the tour, and also that Paul.
It's big news all of a
That is
sudden.
big news.
We are done. It's all about that.
And also that Paul Crook, who's handling second guitar too, he's left to fulfill some other commitments as well. How does that kind of member shuffling affect the performance?
We don't know yet.
We'll let you know.
We haven't done it.
See, Snake's, he's been, especially for me, he's been a friend of mine for years now. So, I mean, I know his head. I know where it's at. He's a good player. And we're going to find out. I mean, he knows this stuff. He's coming down to the show tonight to check it out and see how we go on stage and stuff like that. So, it should be fine.
It's still the core of the band. You know.
Yeah,
That's the important part.
I don't think it affects us.
Yeah,
it doesn't affect the energy at all. That
Not at
knowing
all.
that somebody that hasn't been there the whole time.
No, for the most part, it's Charlie, Scott, and I are the rhythm section. It's not a big problem. And then John adds to the topping, so it's really no big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Now this is a little bit of old news, but I know you guys had invited Joey to join you on the tour, but ultimately at the last minute he backed out. What happened?
Go ahead, Charlie. You love saying this.
I don't want to talk about it. Basically, it was a financial problem that we just couldn't come up with a sum that would make him happy.
You really have a hard time seeing it. It's really tough.
And that's it.
Yeah, really.
Do you foresee it happening in the future? Do you think you guys will ever come to a terms?
Well,
where,
you know,
where
I don't
you'll
like
agree?
saying this because, like, fans watching this, if I say no, then they'll be like, oh, you know, like that. But the truth of the matter is, he cut his own throat.
You don't do anything like that 6 days before a tour.
Not to
Right.
not to Italians either.
And not to Italians, 'cause we have vengeance. Remember that. It'll come back to you, baby.
So far.
Don't forget that it happens.
Today.
What did I tell you?
That's it.
All right, go on. I'm sorry.
No, that was
Rob,
good.
you know,
That was
pressure.
good.
That's right.
What do you guys think is the biggest misconception about Anthrax?
That we're rich. No. Ain't happening.
That's good.
Not here.
I like that.
I don't know. What else?
That's a good.
Serious about the music. We're not serious in life because life is too serious. I mean,
That's good.
The misconception too is like that. Just because we were a band, a product that we started in the '80s, that we are still an '80s band. You know, we made it through the '90s. Like most people didn't make it through the '90s, and here we are, 2000, and we're still out there kicking more.
we'll put on
ass
just
than
as good,
ever,
if
you
not
know?
better, a show than any of these younger bands out right now. I'll say that tonight. Don't really matter, and I'll prove it. You know what I mean? Come watch us. Come see a show.
Yeah. That's good. I like that.
Any regrets so far after so many years of doing this?
Signing contracts.
How do you get around that?
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
Well, we haven't. We haven't.
That's true.
What about you, Charlie?
There's
Any
just
regrets?
regrets. You know, the only regrets I have, and this is not in any way, shape, or form a diss to anybody who joined the band or is out of the band. I don't like making changes in the band. You know, that to me is always a, you know, I hate it when other people do it in other bands, but you know, on the other side of it, it has to happen. So
There is a reason. There is a reason for it.
John?
No, I don't really think I have any regrets. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes, you know. But
What about
no,
Chicago last week?
Chicago's good. Milwaukee was Milwaukee was a mistake.
Milwaukee.
What happened in Milwaukee?
Well, I was irresponsible. You know, I apologized to the band because I was just, you know, I got caught up in a moment and didn't realize we had a big show the next night.
Uh-oh.
Suffered for it. Yeah. So, but I mean, those are the kind of things I regret. I think that as long as you always put out a lot of energy and enthusiasm and you're sincere, which I think this band is, you know, very much, that you shouldn't have any regrets. Probably so a few people along the line that we'd like to disassociate with.
Yeah, but you learn. You learn as you go along.
Yeah, I don't think they're regrets. I just think that it's learning.
Right. When can we expect an album of new material?
That's
We're gonna figure that out.
That's what we keep saying.
We were talking about that. Yeah, we want to tour for a little while, and
Have you guys been writing?
No,
Not yet.
Not yet. Haven't started, but it's fun to play right now. So that's good. That'll lead into writing. So.
Can you write on the road while you're touring now?
No,
Look
usually.
at this. How can we write with this?
You people in our room is our room. How are we gonna write?
Exactly.
Come on. How are we gonna write with this?
See, the thing about touring sometimes, especially for me, is oh God, this is going to come out so crappy, but it gets to you after a while. And it's really good the first 2-3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it just hits. You know, it's like, all right, I want to do something else now.
See,
What is it about the touring?
It's just the lifestyle that just catches up with you. And, you know, it's the truth. Some people love it. Some people, like, are okay with it. Some people hate it. You know, it just gets to a point where it's like, all right, I'm done. Let's just take a break and then come back, and then you're all refueled because you're playing show after show after show. I don't know, you just kind of, you lose something.
But it's really hard to take that break, that week off, because it costs so much money to take that week off.
Right.
And you have to restart it again. You can't really do that, so you really have to consistently play. It's tough.
There's a lot of fatigue in just traveling. You know, I mean, and you don't bring any. Even if you, we've had friends come on the road with us, and after like 5 days, they're burned out, and they're not doing anything. They're just hanging out.
Right.
So I mean, you know, you bring in just constant playing, obviously, you know, an hour and a half every night, doing interviews, the traveling. You know, probably not eating the best of food. Maybe, you know, drinking maybe too much, whatever. So I mean, it does become, you know, exhausting after a while.
What's the best part about touring?
The shows.
The shows, absolutely. Seeing the faces, see the hands. That's what it's about. That's how you know it's worth it.
Yeah, on this tour, the kids have been so excited and stuff. And like, for myself, I came out here with no expectations. Let's just go out and play. And the kids have been crazy. It's just been like, wow, okay. I guess you're trying to tell us something.
It's like weird. Like it's like they haven't seen like a family member in a long time. It's weird. Like all of a sudden we're back. It's like, wow, I'm glad to see you again. It's really weird. You see that in the audiences. Crowds are packed. It's a lot of fun right now.
Have you seen a change?
Could we replace that gel in the background very quickly? Because I'm getting it too hot when I get wide here, John. That's why I'm not going out to the wider shot, but...
We are
We're almost
experiencing
done, guys.
tough.
there we go.
Okay.
And we're
No
still
big deal.
rolling. And so what did you want, John? You wanted a 3-shot?
Nothing.
Okay.
That rips.
What was I going to ask? Oh yeah, have you seen a change in the audiences through the years, or is it always young people, or do you see that people sticking with you guys?
It's fun. It's pretty diverse.
I think it's a cross. I mean, there's obviously people that have been fans of this band since, you know, the early mid '80s, and they're still there. And then there's obviously a lot of people who have just been turned on to the band the last couple of years, which is what you want. You know, you want a combination of that, I think.
It's great seeing like the young kids in the audience. It's a new generation. It's getting to see Anthrax
They're
now.
discovering that this band's been around and that they're doing
And they know the history.
better or as good as everybody else.
Exactly. Exactly.